This week on the Digital Coffee, is Igtv going away? Twitter launched business accounts for everyone if you are in the United States. And what's with the Facebook whistleblower? All that and more after this. Good morning, good morning, good morning. You're welcome to the Digital Coffee. This is your weekly dose of digital marketing and social media news for small business. My name is Amanda Webb. There's no coffee in my cup, but there is tea in Kate's cup. Now, Kate has obviously been here before. We know Kate. Kate from Pet Sitters Island, often on the show. She knows that I want to know what you're drinking, because if you tell me what you're drinking on Facebook, I'm going to send you a copy of the Digital Coffee newspaper that has all the stories we're talking about today, and you can read it in your own time. I'm very confused this morning. If you're watching on YouTube, there is a link pinned to the top of the chat where you can get that newspaper without commenting, but I'd still love to know what's in your cup, or I would like to know your opinions on this. I'd love to know whether you think we should have likes on stories on Instagram. And obviously that is linked to a story that we're going to talk about later on. Big welcome to people watching on YouTube. I can see that you're there, so you are very welcome. Oh, Brian is drinking tea in his favorite red cup. And you know, in my head, I see red cup and I think coffee, because I drink coffee out of a red cup, never tea. So how weird is that? How weird is that? Although I do have a Lion's tea cup where the Lion's bit has washed off from many, many years of use, which I did used to drink tea out of. It's just changed over time. Anyway, we have lots of news for you. I've just realised I've nothing to hand that I should have to hand. It's Friday. It's always Friday when I'm here. I'm having one of those Fridays. I don't know about you. Good morning to James. Loose leaf English breakfast tea, James. I love loose leaf English breakfast tea. I drink loose leaf tea all the time, which makes me sound posh, but I do know making. And tea in one of your many mugs, Fresh Approach Digital. I had a clear out of my mugs during lockdown. Before I get onto the news stories, I do want to tell you a few things that are happening. Firstly, if you've got opinions on this and you want to come and chat with us, myself and Making Sang will be on a Twitter space at 10:30 a.m. to discuss these topics. You can come in, you can request to speak, you can join the conversation and also see what Making has to say about it, because I'm not always right, apparently. Well, who knew? Who knew? So that is pinned to the top of my Twitter profile, which is at Spiderworking, if you want to join us there. Enough of my chatter. Good morning. Oh, so many of you here. Great to see you. Fresh Approach Digital agrees that loose leaf tea is the best. What is it because there's a process to it, I wonder? Catherine says a big old cup of tea. Yeah, all on the teas this morning. Drink 2 of the day, Phil says, is caffeinated coffee. Drink 1 was decaf. Well, that's interesting. Why decaf first? Gosh, we should just have a show about tea and coffee, I think.
Hi, I'm Carmel Siri and you're watching Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Instagram is becoming complicated, isn't it? There's just all these sections everywhere. And I'm guessing if you're not a hardcore Instagram user, if you're just a regular Instagrammer, all those pieces, just what do you do? What do you post where? Well, Instagram are about to simplify things. They are getting rid of the brand that is IGTV. They're getting rid of the name. That's all. You're still going to be able to upload long form content onto Instagram just through the regular posting function. There's a few changes. You will be able to filter your videos. They say you're going to be able to edit. I'm not sure what they mean by that, what they're going to let us do. Are they going to be able to trim the beginning or end? Are we going to do some more sophisticated editing in there? You'll be able to post up to 60 seconds as a snippet of your long form video. I almost called it IGTV then. on your feed. So people will be able to watch that and click through to watch more. So that kind of matches with the length of videos that you normally see in the feed. And you'll also, that IGTV tab on your profile will turn into a video tab. Now, it's not clear if all videos will show there or just the longer videos. Basically, they're getting rid of the name and giving us a few features in exchange for that, which I think is good. I think is good because it is confusing. And I think this is a lesson for us as businesses as well, because we can make things overly complicated for our audiences. Maybe we launch a course. I know I'm guilty of this. We give it a funky name. We have something else. We give it a funky name. And it just becomes confusing. Is this spider working? Is this maximum impact marketing? Is this digital marketing superheroes? Is this the digital coffee? We need to simplify things for our audience. And if we do, like Instagram has, we should be able to sell more because we're confusing them less. So I want to give Instagram a big thumbs up for not killing the tool, but just for killing the name that makes life complicated. Good morning, Making, this is Making saying, who is drinking tea, which I would expect. But of course, she is drinking better tea than I am, which is loosely, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, but it is Japanese tea. And you're a big fan of Instagram likes her stories. You think it's going to be a good thing. Anyone else want to chip in on that? I'd love to hear your thoughts because, of course, we will be covering that story later on.
Hi, I'm Kyra Fingleton from Glamping Under the Stars, and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Facebook cares more about money than people. That is the gist of what the Facebook whistleblower revealed this week in an interview for CBS. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about Frances, and I have no idea how to say her name, Frances Haugen, maybe, an ex-Facebook employee who left Facebook because she didn't feel comfortable with what they were doing anymore. And she took a whole load of documents with her. She alleges that Facebook tries to keep people on platform even when they know it is bad for people. So it tries to keep them on platform longer. They've got their own research. They've been doing their own research that shows that Facebook and its suite of tools amplifies hate, misinformation, and political unrest. It knows this, but it doesn't tell anyone it knows this. They know, this is going to be no surprise to you, they know that arguing online keeps people online, and that's why they ignore a lot of hate speech. Plus, they know that Instagram negatively affects younger people, specifically around their body image. That's what she alleges. That's not fact. We'll have to wait and see once it's gone through the courts, which it currently is, whether this is fact. Facebook is saying no, that they do care about people and they're working really hard to make Facebook a safer space. What does this mean to us as businesses? Well, one of the things that was pointed out is that young people aren't using Facebook and less young people are using Instagram. It's hard to know the demographics around these tools, but since 2013, younger people haven't been using Facebook, and Facebook is desperate to get these people on board. So that's one thing. Obviously, if you're targeting younger people, we know this already. Right? We know this already as marketers. You wouldn't bother using Facebook if you were targeting younger people. TikTok is where it's at. And obviously that's what's behind Instagram's Reels as well, is to try and attract those users over. Will people suddenly leave Facebook because this has been revealed? Well, I'm going to say no, because I'm going to say that first statement that I came out with, Facebook cares more about money than people, that shouldn't surprise anyone, really. They're a big business. They don't have this massive, ethical stance that we would expect to see on a business that really cared about its users. So I don't think it should surprise anyone that's there. I'm not saying they don't care about their users, but it's not part of the ecosystem of the company. I mean, I was thinking about Google earlier. Do you remember when Google started and their slogan was "Don't be evil"? And then they had to drop that because they're a big corporation. Big corporations it would be really hard for them to be ethical. We've seen how TikTok have really been working at this, but at the end of the day, are TikTok an ethical company? They're trying to be, but they're probably not. So I don't think we're going to see people leaving. We do need to be aware from our own point of view that these tools are addictive, that we are addicted to these platforms. And I hate it when I see people saying, well, I have to use social media for business. That's why I'm on my phone all the time. We need to be aware of the addictiveness and treat it like we would, a few pints or a few cigarettes. Does anyone smoke anymore? But you know what I'm coming from. So does it matter to our businesses? Yes, of course. We need to keep an eye on this. We need to keep an eye on our own use and our own health and not expect that Facebook or Instagram are going to do that for us. So Brian Green says, very credible witness basing my opinion on presentation. Absolutely. Obviously I'm broadcasting live. I want to make sure that we know that Facebook has refuted these claims and that they say they are working on making it a safer space. And she does look credible. And obviously as well, that the information isn't surprising to us would suggest that it's credible as well. But we'll wait and see. I think it's going through, I can't remember which bits of American court it's going through, but she's presenting to someone about this. So we'll have to see where this goes and what restrictions are put in place. The one thing I miss saying is that this could mean more regulation of social networks. And I know people get worried about that because of free speech, but to be honest, these are companies that are making money out of our conversations. I think they do need to be regulated, particularly when they are doing things like influencing world elections and influencing the mental health of their users. Anyway, I'll still be using Facebook. I'll still be using Instagram. Very hard to leave, as you will have noticed during the outage this week. Moving on.
Hi, I'm Charlie Lawrence and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
I got really excited this week because I saw an article that said everyone can apply for a professional Twitter account. In case you missed it, professional Twitter accounts are like business pages on Facebook. They're going to be Twitter's version of that. And when you sign up for one, you're going to get extra features. You're going to get a big about section that can sit at the top of your profile. You'll be able to get a shop unit. So shopping will come into Twitter if you are a retailer. And I'm following quite a lot of retailers on Twitter, so I'm sure they'll be excited by that. Or your newsletter, which you can actually already pin up there. I was messing with it yesterday. But it will mean that businesses will be able to do business directly on Twitter. It will give them new tools, which I think is good news. So I was excited that they were launching it to everyone until I tried to fill in the application form. And it's actually only available for users in the United States. It's a simple enough application form because I got to have a look at the whole thing. You put in your username, you put in your business name, you choose a category, you put in your address, you can put in your opening hours, a few other details. And then that, if approved, will appear on your Twitter profile. The downside at the moment, and maybe why they're not rolling it out more widely yet, is that if you want to change your information, if you want to edit it, you have to go through the application process again. I, for one, really am looking forward to being able to avail of these tools from Twitter. The concern, of course, is will it impact reach? The way that we know Facebook doesn't show Facebook page posts to as many people as it shows Facebook personal posts, which makes sense because we go on Facebook to see posts from our friends, not, oh, that's what my local business is doing today. Is this going to tap into the algorithm on Twitter? I think it would be a shame because I think we use Twitter differently, but I suppose we can expect it. I missed a few of you earlier on, so good morning to Roy. Great to see you here. What's the weather like there today? Always imagine it's hot where you are. Tea and a slice of toast. Good morning to Deirdre. I'd love to know what you think about the Facebook Whistleblower, of course. And Making, I did mention it already, Making, that at 10:30 a.m, if you join myself and Making on Twitter Spaces to discuss this in more detail, find out, because I can already see that I have a difference of opinion to making on one of these things. So it'll be really interesting to get her opinion and your opinion. So that is pinned to the top of my Twitter profile if you want to join in. Okay, what's next?
Hello, this is Rob Charles, the voice of Mike on Forever FM on Peter Kay's Car Share. BAFTA award-winning, I've got to say, but I've not seen the BAFTA yet. Anyway, you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb. Enjoy. I'm on tea. Shh.
When you set up an ad on Facebook and you choose an objective for your ad, and your objective is things like, do you want people to visit your website? Do you want people to convert into sales? Do you want to get people to engage with your posts or like your page? When you choose an objective on Facebook, Facebook knows its users. So what it will do is it will, out of your audience that you're targeting, it will choose a subset of that audience that are most likely to take the action that you have optimized your ad from using the objectives. It's a really, I think it's the magical bit of Facebook ads that people don't really talk about. And of course, it knows the actions people take, at least on Facebook. It knows the people that engage with posts, that watch videos. It knows when people click a link. Even with the iOS 14 update, it knows those things. It also knows if you've got the Pixel installed and if somebody isn't visiting with the iOS 14 update or other privacy updates, it knows when somebody takes an action on your website. So it knows when somebody buys from you. It really is an amazing tool. But over the years, there's been all these pieces added to Facebook. And each time something is added, they'll add a new objective in Facebook ads. So that means we've got things like you can set up a conversions ad to measure, to optimize for sales on your website, but you can also set up a catalog ad to optimize for sales on your website. So some of them cross over. So it's not surprising really that this week Facebook have announced that they are narrowing down the objectives to just 6 objectives. I'm going to get them up on screen. Well, that's not the 6 objectives. That's how they're combining them together. So in the future, you'll be able to set up a sales objective. And from the sales objective, you will be able to decide, is it somebody checking out on your Facebook shop or interacting with your Facebook shop? Is it somebody buying through your catalog? Is it buying through converting on your website? And you'll be able to choose which of those. It will be kind of like a sub-objective. This makes total sense. I think this will streamline the whole ad creation process. And I also think, one of the things it's doing here is it's bringing in the on Facebook conversion events. By which I mean, you can, instead of setting up a campaign that sends people to your website to sign up for your lead magnet and you measure the conversions there, you can run a lead gen ad, which means people can fill in the form without leaving Facebook, and you can connect that information up to your CRM or your email marketing software. And those sort of ads are becoming more important since iOS 14 and the general shift towards privacy. The more things you can get to happen on Facebook, the easier it's going to be for you to measure and optimize. So I think it's bringing together these Facebook tools, which people are using more and more now, with the traditional conversion events. I'm a big fan of this. I probably won't be when I have to go and set up my first campaign with it, but at the moment, I think it is a really good step forward. Deirdre is saying she's going to have to watch the replay on YouTube because Ciro is dire this morning. You had the same problem last Friday as well. I wonder, does it not like the autumn weather? Because it's been pretty horrible. And my own home internet, actually, since the blackout, the Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp blackout of 2021, my internet's been pretty poor. Had to test it this morning. I should be all right. I should be here until we finish. Okay, let's move on.
Hi, I'm Catherine Mason and you're watching Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Twitter is clearly thinking about the quality of the video that it's putting out on the channel. And by quality, I don't mean the content of the video, I mean how good it actually looks on the platform. Because of course, last week we saw that they introduced some new service that meant that videos should look clearer in the Facebook feed. Apparently, lots of them were getting pixelated. I hadn't experienced this, but apparently it was an issue. This week, they say they're getting rid of the ability to add audio guests to Twitter Live. So what used to happen is you used to set up your Twitter Live and you could bring people in. I liked the feature. It was a bit like a chat show, like you see on the telly. Somebody could come in and say something and you could react, you could interact with them in real time without them having to put their video on the screen. And of course, that meant more people are likely to jump in because it's only their voice that's getting broadcast. So I liked the feature. I didn't see it in use very much, but they're getting rid of that. And they say they're getting rid of that. And as a result, you're going to have better quality on Twitter Live, which is good news. And also, we have just seen the final shutdown of Periscope and the move over to Twitter Live. So imagine they're anticipating more people jumping on. So I think that's good. I think video quality is good. I am surprised that they've got rid of an audio feature, considering how much they're focusing on audio at the moment, but it's probably good. But don't worry if you're a live streamer and you want to go live with guests, because of course you can use tools like Ecamm Live, like I'm using now, StreamYard, Restream, which I'm also using now, long story. You can use those to go live with guests and bring them in however you want to on the platform. So even though it's gone from Twitter native, I think for like pro live streamers, it's not going to make a big difference.
Hi, I'm Lee from Wellshot and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb. Cheers.
If you have permission to share your content into Facebook groups, so some Facebook groups will allow sharing, some Facebook groups will actually ask you to share specific types of content into their groups. And that's something I do with this digital coffee. Hello, if you are watching in Women Inspire Network, in Seniorpreneurs, in Spiderworking's Digital Marketing Superheroes, or in Zero Budget Marketing. Big hello to you now, because I share this stream into those groups with the permission of the owners, and sometimes I'm invited by the owners. But the process, you have to go in, you have to click 2 buttons to even get into groups, you have to select your group, you have to post. It's a long process. Well, Facebook are testing sharing posts. They have to be Facebook posts into multiple Facebook groups by clicking just a button. And it's easy then to select the groups you want to share to and post there, which is going to be a massive time saver. In fact, I think I had an early version of this, because a while back I used to be able to do pretty much just that. I could share and it would go into groups and I could tick the groups that I wanted to share to, but it's gone now. The downside of this, of course, is spammers. You know, group moderators, group admins already have big issues with having to remove posts from people that just think it's okay to go and share every post they have into their group. Because, of course, some groups don't allow any sharing at all. So this could encourage more spammers. Will it put more of a headache on the admins of groups? I guess we'll find out if and when it's launched to all. I think that's about Deirdre's. I think that's about Deirdre's internet again. But she got her internet improved when I talked about the Twitter Live update. Obviously, it knew you were interested in that. Okay. Oh, sorry, I keep banging my microphone. I agree. Easy sharing to make multiple Facebook group could encourage more spammers. But yes, is there a good payoff? So, for example, if you run your own a number of Facebook groups that are attached to your page, wouldn't it be just really easy if you need that same information to go into all those groups? It could be a really good way to send it out. I think there's got to be some controls maybe on your group about sharing. I don't know how it's going to work. Oh.
This is May King from The FOMO Creator, and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Instagram is working on a tool that will, let me start that again. Instagram is working on the option to like Instagram stories. People will be able to click like without sending you a direct message, which is what will happen if you send any of the emojis for now. When they see your story, you will be able to see how many likes your story's got in the bit where you can see who's viewed your story. I don't know if you'll be able to see who liked it. Is this a good idea? Well, at the moment, it doesn't look like it's going to be public. It sounds like it's just going to be between you and the person who liked it, in which case I'm all for this. I think this is a good measurement tool. I think one of the things with stories is that views isn't a particularly good measure of how people consumed your story, because of course they can tap through really quickly. So a view means something, but not a whole amount. So one way that I've been suggesting to people they measure that is to use something like a poll or a question sticker or a quiz sticker, and then you can measure the conversion rate, if you like, the engagement rate of the number of people who view your story that participate in a poll. But of course, it's still hard to get people to participate in polls. This is a step below that. So people will be able to click like, and you will be able to measure the engagement rate of likes to views on your story, which means you'll know what percentage of people really are tuning in and focusing. So I think it's good from that point of view. I think it's good that you won't get so many direct messages when somebody just wanted to click like, but I don't like the idea of this ever being public and becoming that whole ego boosting, look who liked my post type thing. I don't know if you agree. That's all. I told you I scattered this morning. Forgot that was the end of the show. It's been wonderful to have so many of you here today. Oh, look, there's Laura. Yes, you've put it so much better than I do. Laura says she thinks it'll be a good measure for how people are receiving your stories and which ones are working better than others. Absolutely. That's exactly put in one clear, crisp sentence what I was trying to say. So yes, I think that could be good. That is all from me for the Digital Coffee for this week. But at 10:30 a.m, you know what's happening? Myself and Making Sang on Twitter, in a Twitter space, talking about these exact topics. You are more than welcome to join us. You will find the tweet about the space at the top of my Twitter profile at Spiderworking. It is pinned there. Please come and join us. I would love to see you. Brian says he's going to jump in. Thank you, Emma. She says it's a good one. Getting a message, so many comments coming in now. Getting a message in your DMs is good to be able to start conversations. I think, yes, I absolutely agree. And that's one of the things that, you know, Instagram is good at, is getting DMs. But some people will not necessarily want to send a direct message, so maybe not engage with your post. And when they like, they're still able to engage and not getting to a direct message, if that makes any sense. This was a good one. Thank you. Thanks, Emma. And hopefully Brian will tune in at 10:30. It would be great to have you in. Just remember, if you have to join a mobile to join the conversation, you can listen in on desktop. Just a few people couldn't join last week because of that. I will be back, same bat time, same bat place next week. Until then, bye-bye.